Dude, actually, have you heard this AI song? This song,
The
it was a
Drake
Drake
one
song. Yeah.
in the weekend.
Weekend. Holy crap. Dude, so I sent that to I sent that to a few people over here. Somebody replied back, like, it's already got 8 million views. It hasn't even been up for a day. I'm like, holy shit. Then somebody hit me up today and they were like, hey, I'm trying to listen to this song. It's not here. I don't know where it is. Right. And then I found another because like it got wiped from YouTube. But I found another I guess upload of it on SoundCloud and sent it to them. They listened to it and they listened back and they were like, dude, that was unbelievable. I'm like, I know, right? It's like the woman at the bank, I was asking her if she had heard about it. I just walked in, I was like, because she was like, they told me I was gonna see Drake. I got excited. I was like, it's just me, you know? And she's like, yeah, no, it's cool, it's cool. I was like, have you heard this AI song? And she's like, actually, I listened to it this morning. My husband sent it to me. I was like, this is better than some of the Drake songs that like he actually produced. I'm like, I know, right? It's catchy. Think about this. In the future, they're not gonna need the artist. They're not gonna need the artist. They're just gonna like remember that Black Mirror episode that we watched with Hannah Montana?
Because we watched so many.
I know, the one with Hannah Montana. Remember? Where it's like
yeah, they just had the AI version of her.
Exactly. They had the AI version of her, and the AI version of her was making the music for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what they're gonna do with these artists now. It's like, oh, I don't need you to produce a song anymore.
Wow, JJ, you hear that, bro?
we have
I'm here. I'm here.
I'm here with a capital H.
Hey, I'm here, bro. I'm here. Exactly why it's the most valuable group in the marketplace. You know what I'm saying? It's straight up, because that's a hedge against that. It's like you don't need the music, right? That's why the music actually has a purpose now.
Right. Right. Because otherwise you can literally get like a ghostwriter to write some music for you. Right. So all these kids who are like aspiring to be whatever, it's like, okay, we actually don't need you. We have unlimited Drake songs, you know, and we can just pump these out one after another. We don't have to wait for the artist to be hit by inspiration. We don't have to wait to coordinate this and that and this. We could just put it all together and ship out the songs, the distribution ourselves. We're going to make money off of that anyway. They were always making money off of that. And then they only need the artist to just go and perform. That's it. Perform the music that we made for you. That's it. Right. And then who knows? Soon, remember Tupac at Coachella? Tupac, right? Right?
Seriously.
Tupac's never been to Coachella. But they had the hologram. Right? It's just that easy. That's just coming.
Yeah. So with that being said, y'all, we got a good, oh man. I'm always excited for these. I am the most excited out of all of them yet for this one. So let's just get after it because we don't have much time. About to go elite mode. Welcome everybody. Glad to see you here. Get some pen and paper and whatever you can to take notes, because there's a lot of really cool things that Drake and I have been learning recently and then applying it to the principle that we're getting into for this conversation. So what do you think, Drake? Anything you want to say as a precursor? Otherwise, we'll just dive in.
We've been cooking up some good stuff for you, so let's hit it.
Let's do it. Hey, does Drake and my mic sound the same, or is mine louder? I know I get really loud sometimes.
Yeah. Who's louder?
Yours is all the way turned up.
Okay, so do I need to?
Drake's is just all the way turned down.
No, Drake, you just need to yell.
Yeah, Drake, I want to hear you shout in that pastor voice of yours.
Really project.
I almost
did.
You
I want that volume, Drake.
almost,
after last week, you talking about that volume.
Yeah. Is this better?
I'm not hearing any more volume out of your
I don't
vocabulary.
think I heard you yell. So
You guys just want me to yell. All right.
Because
so
Drake is just still accepting and allowing a tiny bit of suppression. It's okay.
if you're
All right.
listening on the replay, I'm giving you a forewarning. It's coming. I'm gonna yell. All right. So you might just turn it down now. All right. How's this? Is this any better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
yeah, I
Right.
can hear now.
That's
Keep it like that for sure.
yeah. You're living the principle we talked about last week, which is the principle of self-perfection through self-creation. So good
There
job.
it is.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right. So for everyone here and y'all watching the replay, would y'all like to be able to learn faster, take in way more information, and take all the things you're learning and apply it into really novel ideas, and then apply those ideas, get rapid feedback from the world so you can share the best ideas with people, and you filter through all the garbage so you only keep the best? If you would like to do that, all right, that's what we're going to get into today. All right. And the principle that we're going into before we get into all the nitty-gritty is the principle of investigate all things and keep what is good. Or like we like to say here, investigate all things and keep what's best. It's similar, but the best is the best. Good is just good. So this is the principle as read from the ogdestiny.org about us section. I unconditionally investigate, consider, and introspect all aspects, expressions, perspectives, and avenues of life, and assess what can practically be applied within the principle of what is best for all. If you thought that was a run-on sentence and too much, well, good thing, because you're going to learn how to learn faster, because you should be able to process that easy. Like that should be second nature. Were you going to say something, Drake? It looked like you were talking.
No. Keep going.
Okay, cool. Hey, Jonathan, you'd be a great person to ask this. Do you have that audio where I swear it was called "You Should Do Some Reading" by Bernard Pullman? I could not find it. Do you have it?
Yeah, it's not ringing a bell. You should do some reading.
Yeah, he talks about like having. Yeah, well, here I'll give the precursor. Maybe it'll jog some memories. But
Okay.
So Bernard is the OG of these principles and the idea of self-perfection, and it's got a ton of great audios on YouTube. And one of them, he talks about the importance of reading, specifically with how the world is speeding up. The world is growing at a rapid rate, and now especially obviously with artificial intelligence, culture, social media, all of these different forces happening. And Bernard explains how if you can't read at least 600 words a minute, you're going to fall behind. Like, good luck, basically. And so just wanted to bring that up because what Drake and I are going to be sharing here, we'll give you some good ideas on this, is really the value in being able to read and hunt for information. So then you can take it and then apply it within the principle of what's best for all. So we're just going to hit heavy on a bunch of different things. And I'll share the first part first, because it'll lay the groundwork and the context for everything else. So yeah, there's and Drake, feel free to jump in at any time. I was on a walk earlier. I was carrying Aristotle around the property. He's like 32 pounds now. So I'm like, it's like a full workout. I had this insight of so much good stuff and I just wrote it all down. So
awesome.
This is, yeah, go ahead.
So let me just set this up, right? Because, we were talking on the phone and it just really was clear to me about, okay, what's so important about this is consider if you went through the school system and if you went to university, college, whatever, if you went through the school system at all, you were not taught how to investigate. You were taught how to be averse to investigation, like to literally deplore it, right? Especially, okay, if you, how many people actually like school? On occasion, I meet someone who's like, "Oh, I love school." Like, what? Right? But the vast majority of people that I talk to hate school. They don't see the point of it. They're like, no, I know it's a waste of my time, right? And really, what you're learning in school is how not to investigate, how not to want to educate yourself, how to want to stay away from those things. And so what we have is a society of people, and I'm sure you've seen them, a society of people who will just take whatever the first thing you say, they're going with that. If the news said this, that's the answer. There's no investigation needed. It's there in plain sight, quote unquote, right? But they don't know how to look into things in depth, right? And so they're not going to find out for themselves. They're not going to learn anything. Whatever the first hit is, that's what they're going with. That's it. You've seen them, right? Well, here's the thing. We can't just put it all on them. We can't just say, oh yeah, that's what they're doing. I don't do that. That's what they're doing. You can't do that because guess what? You've been taught that too unconsciously. You have that within you of not actually investigating effectively. We'll investigate things till it makes us quote unquote feel good. But that's about it, right? We're not actually going in depth and really understanding, because if we were, we wouldn't have this world that we have right now. This wouldn't be acceptable. You wouldn't just be going along with your 9 to 5. You wouldn't actually consider this, right? We exist, and I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna backtrack on it. You ready? We exist within an illusion. Not the world, not reality. That's reality. That's not the illusion. The illusion is the system that we participate in. Think about it. Money, we made that shit up. Money doesn't, animals don't care about money. They don't. You ever try to give a deer a $100 bill? Chews on it for a little bit, spits it out. Not interested, right? Trees don't care about money. You ever try to show a tree money? They're like, that was my cousin. What are you doing? Right? Money, literally, it's funny if you think about money, because it's getting less and less real, right? Fiat currency, right? It's getting less and less real. Before, there used to be some coin that you would get, some gold, some silver, or something, right? Then it went to this paper. Now it's this literally just numbers on a screen. It's just numbers on a screen, and it's getting easier and easier to make it so that number could just be deleted and you don't have any money. We're playing with an illusion, within an illusion. We are in a reality, a real reality, but we're playing within an illusion. If you actually investigated all things and kept what's best, that would be no more. You wouldn't be participating in that. We would all say, hey, this doesn't make sense. Because what we're doing is we're actually allowing for children and other people too, but come on, children to die because it's not profitable to make sure that they live. What? We literally made up money and we're allowing that. Okay. So I'm just giving that preface of you've been taught to not investigate things and not even look at what's best. You're just going to take what makes you feel good. That's the program that everybody has. I'll pass it back to you, Mitch.
Thanks, Drake. That's key, because what I'm about to share is a bunch of different things that is coming from the system now. And it doesn't mean throw it out. It means investigate it and then keep what's best, because there's still really good stuff in the current system that we have. We have to change the system. Okay. And that system is within each of us. There's another really cool audio from Bernard called "The Human is the System," and that explains that very well. So without further ado, let's jump in. So in the spirit of investigating things, and becoming really effective at learning and diving in and really taking on the world. Because part of self-perfection is us becoming the greatest version of ourselves. That involves you getting a lot smarter, getting a lot of new input into your system, keeping what's best and discarding the rest. So we'll start off with this one. There's a phenomenal book. I talk about it often. It's called Where Good Ideas Come From by Steven Johnson. And the TED Talk is really cool. You can watch a book summary on it. You should get the book itself, though, because it's one of those books that has so much helpful vocabulary in it. For example, one term, this is all about expanding vocabulary. So there's a concept that I heard in the book that was something that I had done for years, not knowing I was doing it. It's called a commonplace book. Has anyone ever heard of a commonplace book? As the title, you might know it by something else. Some people call it a journal, but it's like a journal full of the gold. Not just your journal where you take notes and it's kind of scratchy and it's like, whatever, just a journal. It's like, no, this is like your journal that you like, and you only put the gold into it. And that's one example of where good ideas come from. So some of the original people who created the backbone of what turned into the internet, as young kids, they would read encyclopedias and books with vast amounts of information on totally disparate things. And then they would put it in their commonplace book and just reflect on it and let it marinate, so to speak. And then over time, you create these really awesome ideas because you can find the connections between vastly different things. So I'm going to give you some vocabulary from the book that's really helpful as we're now looking at how do we go about investigating the world and keeping what's best. So this is all coming from the book, but I'll share it from how I see it fits into self-perfection. So the first term is called the adjacent possible. You don't know what adjacent means. It's like next to or across. And as you, well, here, let me back up for a second. I think I talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. Where good ideas come from, to put it plainly, is from combining a bunch of other ideas. Now, again, this is coming from the system. If your starting point's not clear, if your principles aren't clear, good luck having good ideas. You might happen across them, but you wouldn't even know them. So you got to be clear on your starting point, of course. But now let's say your starting point is clear. It's helpful to add a bunch of ideas to the table. So a great example of where innovation happens is in coffee shops, because there's a lot of people talking in close quarters and they're caffeinated and they're exchanging ideas, and someone who's into music and someone who's into business and someone who's there to read the newspaper and a kid, and all of them are there. And the interchange of ideas happens, and that's where innovation actually comes from. So this first term, the adjacent possible, this is where in your life, consider this, what was possible for you is different before you joined Self-Perfected to now that you're in Self-Perfected, the Facebook group. Simple as that. There's now new possibilities. You being on this training, learning these new words has now created new possibilities from that. This afternoon or evening, whatever, you hit up Drake and you send him some funny gifts and you start trolling him, be like, and just start conversation with Drake. And then he responds, that opens up new possibilities. So that idea of having that vocabulary in your toolbox of the adjacent possible is really helpful, because when you add more things to the table, more possibilities open up. That's going to be really important as we go forward. Oh, sorry, it's a GIF. Okay, really? Post in the chat if it's a GIF or a GIF. Okay, it's a GIF because they're basically like a gift.
If you call me, don't pronounce it GIF. It's a GIF.
No, message him. Yeah, GIF like gift, because they're so funny. Try having a conversation with someone and just GIFs. It's really, really funny. Okay, so another one is called slow hunches. So this is like for years, right? When you're like thinking about some idea, something that can't escape you. Like I'm sure JJ with your music, or many of us, like you've had this idea of like, I want to change the world. Like it's got to be possible for us to actually change the world. That's been a slow hunch. And over time, it will collide with other slow hunches until it makes a really big hunch. And a hunch is basically like a premonition or like a like an intuitive thought or feeling about how something is. Again, this is from the system. Some of your hunches are really dumb, but some of your hunches are actually best for all. So this is where self-honesty comes in. Okay. A couple others. This stuff is like insane to at least plant seeds. Like it's really, really good stuff. Another's called liquid networks. So they explain how like coral reefs are one of the most biodiverse habitats on the planet. Because if it's let's say like a frozen tundra or a dry desert, the information can't travel as freely as it does in a liquid environment, because think about how water can make things move. But also another example of a liquid network would be like at the self-perfected event, how we're going to have specific times where it's just a general like, hey, meet everybody, go talk to new people, we'll prompt people with questions and that kind of thing, where it's like free flow. Hey, maybe the liquid network will be group swim party in the ocean. You know, that would be a really liquid network. But that's a really helpful framework by which to look at things. So if you're ever stuck and you're just sitting in the same room or looking at the same environment, it's very different than if you're like, hey, let me go work out of a co-working space today. You can get a free pass to most co-working spaces. Go work out of a co-working space one day. Like go on a walk through a different area. And again, sometimes people can take this to the extreme and then they have no order in their lives. So what we're looking at is basically the perfect blend, the best for all middle ground of order, being rigid, and chaos, having no rigidity. And you find that blend in between. Okay. There's just a few others. Another is serendipity. And that's when you have enough pieces on the table and then things all come together. That's a fun word to redefine. Another one's called exaptation, exaptation. So like an example of that is a bird. They initially grew feathers for warmth. And then over time, they could use it as wings. But the feathers didn't come about for wings. It came about for warmth. So in the same way, you might have a tool like TechnoTutor, or you might have a tool like a laptop and a microphone. And it initially came about for one reason, but the exaptation would be using it for a totally different reason. So these are different frameworks by which you can look at the world to, again, investigate and keep what's best. And then the last one that he talks about that I found really practical here is also then platforms. So for example, Self-Perfected is a platform. We can now all build on a totally different level because we have the group and we have the system. Or network effects is another really valuable thing to learn because it explains like why every single person that joins Self-Perfected makes the group exponentially more valuable. It's not linear because if one new person joins, they now empower each one of us who's already here. So there's a cool compound effect that happens with that. So that's some stuff I'll throw on the table for right now. Drake, you got anything? Because I got a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. So I want to go back to being able to investigate all things. So that's really cool. That's like where some of your ideas can come from, or some really great ideas can come from, right? And then how you can adapt and be able to use what's in your environment to do more, right? But this is all, remember, with the starting point of creating a world that is best for all, right? And with that starting point, it's like, okay, it's not just about having great ideas. That's cool. But investigating where are your thoughts even coming from, right? And so that means, oh, I can never think again. No, that's not what we're saying, right? But investigate, are these thoughts actually best? Investigate all things, keep what is best. When you go to take an action, oh, well, this person spoke like this to me, so of course I'm going to say this. Wait, why are you getting worked up? Where is that coming from? Investigate that. No, that was disrespect. No, this, whatever, right? It's like, we could accept that, or we could investigate where's that coming from within me, and then make a change. And then we can see, okay, well, you know what? Me standing up for myself, that is good. So that part I'll keep. But me reacting, getting all worked up, I don't have to do that. turning into some character that needs to defend his honor or whatever. Not necessary, right? That said, though, it's funny because what will happen is a lot of people will get stuck. They'll start down this path of, oh, okay, it's not about my thoughts or feelings or emotions or, okay, I need to just be here. And then they try to like shut out everything. And they're like, la, 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 right? But we're not saying that either, right? It's investigate what is best, what actually makes sense. Does that mean I can never be expressive again in my life? No. There will be times when it actually makes sense for you to be expressive and it doesn't make sense for you to try to be super stoic, right? And so it's really about, in this context, being adaptable for what is best. The starting point is always what is best. That's why it's the first principle, right? Considering all things and creating a world that's best, right? There's more to it than that. It's considering all things, plants, animals, everything, life, right? But that's why that's the first principle, because that is the starting point for everything else that we're doing, for everything else that we're talking about, because we're here to create a world that is best. Now, considering all that, you also have to consider you need to be investigating things. You can't just stay sheltered with what you think you already know. That's not enough. You need to be investigating more because, look at it. If you went to school, you were taught a certain way, and that's it. That's what you were given. That's it. 95% of people in the world work a 9-to-5 job. They're an employee. Is that really the best thing? Think about that. Is that really the best thing? I mean, okay. I was listening to somebody talk about this, and they were talking about AI. They were talking about how there are a lot of people who are employees today. And he was saying, there are some people who really just don't like that phrase, wage slave, right? I'm tired of being called a wage slave just because I don't want to be an entrepreneur. It's like, okay. But if you look at the reality of it, eventually, very soon, we're going to have automation that does all these jobs for us. And society is going to look back on, the industrial times when you had to have a job because, well, if you didn't have a job, you didn't get a paycheck and then you couldn't live. Society's going to look back on that and say, that was just a different form of slavery, right? And what are you buying anyway? You're buying all these products that's actually produced with actual slavery, what we would consider actual slavery, right? Literally like sweatshops, and you guys know what I'm talking about. And so this point of investigate all things means, well, obviously we can't remain the same. We cannot remain in our same thought processes because that got us here. And so if we want to change where we're at, if we want to change society, which we do here in this group, that's what we're here to do. We're here to change the system, right? So that means we're going to have to investigate things, and things may be uncomfortable. They may be colored with things that we don't really like. But if we stop at the surface, you guys remember those commercials from what were the Tootsie Pops? You guys remember those commercials? How many licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, right? And there'd be an owl, and you'd be like, 1, 2, 3, and then he'd bite in. He's like, 3 licks to get to the center, right? But I'm bringing that up because the Tootsie Pop, and there were other lollipops like this, right, where the center would be something completely different than on the outside. But if you just stayed on the outside, it's just a lollipop, right? But as you get deeper and deeper and deeper, and it would take you a while, if you actually wanted to investigate how many licks to the center of the Tootsie Pop, if you actually wanted to investigate that, it took a while. It was more than just 3 licks. Meaning, when you're looking at information and you're investigating it from this perspective of, I'm here to create a world that's best. I'm here to create my own life to be best. And I want to keep what is best. You're going to have to go one layer after the other, until you get to the core of it, until you really understand it. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is if you can actually process and understand information, which is why we share a techno tutor in this group, right? But if you're not able to process and understand information, you're just going to get caught at the surface in your emotions, in your feelings. Yeah, but he said it this way, and I didn't really like the way he said the word slave, and I'm done. I'm not even going to hear the rest of what he said. You know, it's like, that's where most people will get stuck. But if you can actually comprehend and process information, you can see, you know, maybe I feel this way about this, and I don't really like that, but I can see the logic. I can see the understanding here. This is actually deeper. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep investigating. And when you can see, wait, why am I feeling this way? Why am I reacting to that? And I can see that this makes sense, but at the same time, I feel so terrible. What's coming up within me? That's the thing to investigate. And when you can do that, and actually take all these things apart, guess what? Now you're at a greater understanding. You're at a greater understanding. This is how you can take in a lot of information and really go deep and really make sure that the information that you're bringing in, that you're taking in, isn't just BS. It's not just what makes you feel good. Because what makes you feel good, like Mitch was saying earlier, that comes from the system. That's your system programming. So we have to make sure that we're investigating information that actually gets us to the result of a world that is best. That's why investigate all things, keep what is best. Not just keep what makes you feel good. Not just, you know, I'll take a little bit of this, a little of this, because it's my life, my world, and I just do what I want. No, it's from the starting point of creating a world that's best. And we can do that. And this is how you do it. And if you need support with that, reach out to Mitch, reach out to myself, right? But this is why we share what we're doing, share this process, share these tools, because we've seen for ourselves and so many within this group of just how much you actually can change your own thinking patterns, your own life cycles, all of that. Generational curses, you can literally change all of that, which means you're changing not just yourself, you're changing your future generations, you're changing your family dynamics, you're changing your community, and together we're changing the world.
Damn, Drake. That was hotter than that AI Drake song.
I don't know, that song is pretty hot.
So there's one other big part that I want to add to this. It fits in perfectly with what you're saying. There's a idea that when you're stuck and you're at a plateau, specifically, this is now when you're out there accomplishing your purpose, going to create a world that's best, running a clubhouse, sharing these tools, like going out there and really talking to people and persuading people why they should also do what's best. So that's part of the process. It's all interconnected. In that, if you hit a plateau in your abilities or in your results, if you hit a plateau, more education is required. So what does that mean, though? So what I have found that has worked very well for myself and for others in this group is increasing the quality and the quantity of inputs into the system, and also making sure you're increasing the quantity and the quality of the output. Put simply, it takes a moment of reflection and self-honesty to realize what you need to learn And sometimes you don't know exactly what you need to learn, but you can create a system so you're constantly being fed with good stuff, and then you process it, and then the output is maybe a more effective way of talking to somebody, something like that. For example, I was originally talking with one of my friends. He had just gotten TechnoTutor and he was loving it. And he wanted to get on a call with me because he was like learning all these new things, and he was into copywriting, which is basically how do you write persuasive things online to make people want to buy stuff. And I was telling him about this idea that I had of like, hey, I want to get people who are into this kind of thing all together. We can like hang out and everything. But I didn't know what to do. I needed new input. And then he asked me, he goes, hey, have you ever thought of a Facebook group? I was like, no. He's like, oh, you should make a Facebook group. Like, that's the best place for people to hang out and like talk about really important stuff and build community. And next thing you know, that was the beginning of Self-Perfected. So new input, right? I was plateaued in my effectiveness. I could only reach so many people per day. New input. Oh, great. Now this. Now new inputs coming to Self-Perfected, right? And it's just this constant it's really a never ending process. But there's two main ways of getting the inputs that I've found to be really great. I mean, I think all of us here have TechnoTutor. That's obviously the core input because that's getting it into the physical. So assuming that you have that. Now, here's the other two is one is books, being able to read and learn and read. You can read any book. There's a couple books I would really suggest reading and some blogs, Heaven's Journey to Life, Creation's Journey to Life, and the Destiny articles. That's like fundamental. Definitely read those. And then also there's every once in a while, we'll do this at our clubhouse, but it's a really fun activity. Maybe we do it on one of these calls sometime, but it's where it's called the power read. And I know some of you have done it before. Some of you haven't done it. But ideally you're in a place where it's got a good library. So it's like, if it's one of our homes, right, you got books on self-development and business and growth and cool ideas and whatever. Like at Cameron's house, that's the perfect place to do a power read because you're getting stuff from all over. And a really fun way to do it is you grab one book that you think will really help you in terms of what you're trying to learn, and one book that you think won't help you. Like you're actively trying to find a book that won't actually serve you with good input. And then you set a timer for like 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, and you hunt through that book, not like how we were taught in school how to read. Start at the beginning, read the table of contents, learn about the author. It's like, that's one way to read. But another way to read is like you found a gold mine and 98% of it is dirt, but 2% is gold. Now here's a term I'll add to it, and then I'll keep explaining it. I know I go all over the place, but it's kind of fun. I get to we all get to scramble ourselves like scrambled eggs. So the term is called information density. And it's why books are so valuable. Because I think about it like this. If you're an author and you've, studied a bunch of stuff or you're a researcher and now you want to share your ideas with the world. Imagine if you shared that idea through a TikTok video. You can only go so deep. I think they're only 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds. Now imagine you recorded a 10-minute video of you explaining your ideas. Okay, cool. But imagine now you're on a 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan. There's a lot more you could go into, right? Or a Self-Perfected podcast for 3 hours or whatever we do, right? That you're allowed to get more, you're able to get more density into that. But now, because think about it, the amount of time that goes into our formulating your ideas for a TikTok video, let's say it's 10 minutes to plan the video. Now, let's say you're planning a podcast. Maybe there's a little more time. I mean, with Self-Perfected, we just go off the cuff. But now imagine you have a book. I don't know what the average book is, but I'm guessing it's at least 8 months of effort and focus, and it's like the wisdom, and then it's refined, and then it's refined some more, and it's refined some more. So by the time you're getting that end book, each line of that, like there's the density of the information because there's so much value and so much time, effort was put into it to then get to each sentence in there. Now, again, most books are just filler, but there are certain types of books where like every sentence is really good. or you listen to a Bernard video, talk about information density. That is like the pinnacle, because every single word is a living word. You know, every single word is in there for a reason. And it packs a punch to it. So to bring it back now, books have a higher information density on average than watching TikTok videos. So if you're watching TikTok all day, what the hell are you doing with your life? I'm sure no one in here is doing that. I'm sure we've all gone down the rabbit hole before watching reels and stuff, but books, okay? So now back to this thing called power reading. It's really fun in a group, like especially with people who have intention and purpose and everything. What you do then is you set the timer for like 4 minutes and you hunt through it, and you're just looking at random pages, everything, but you're hunting for the gold and you're writing it down. And then you're gonna then use it and share it with a group. And then you do it again with the other book that you think has nothing to do with what you're doing, and you'll be amazed. I did this recently with Pedro and some other guys, and for those of you who don't know, Pedro's in this group, and he's one of the core people here. And he got one book. He was reading a Jeff Bezos book, and it was like badass because, you know, he's Pedro's future version of Jeff Bezos, you know, working on being a billionaire, all that good stuff. And then the other book he grabbed that he thought would have no practicality to his life was called like a Natural Childbirth or something. It was a book from Jessica, my wife. He's like, this is not going to have anything to do with my life, right? And he read it, but because he's reading with intention, it was explaining how basically childbirth for a woman is a stress test, because it shows a woman what she's made of, and it's like that's what she's designed to do, is birth a child. And in that moment, as Pedro is reading that, he's like, yeah, for a woman, that would be an example. And I know not every woman, like I know there's context here, but you can see this. It's like that's a stress test for a woman. For a man, a stress test is you building a business, you birthing that business into the world. Isn't that interesting? And so I'm sharing this because when you're clear on your starting point and you've been building your vocabulary and you have this processing ability, I'm going to challenge you tonight before you go to bed. Pick up some random book, some magazine. Don't go online looking at blogs and stuff. I mean, read the Heaven's Journey and Creation Journey, but like, don't go reading like Time magazine or some shit online. But go pick up a random book, flip to a random page, and just hunt to add a little bit of chaos into the system, add a little bit of randomness. And when you can find that balance and with your inputs, it will bring things to a whole new level. And it's a really cool way of looking at investigating everything and keeping what's best, because sometimes your breakthrough will come from something you do not expect. You might think, oh, I need to be better at talking to people and like being influential to like help get my point across. And you might be learning something totally random about, who knows, forests. But then you realize something about how the forests and the trees are always giving oxygen, and it's a big network. And then you realize how you can build a better network and give to it better. Therefore, you influence. So you'll find these common threads of everything, and it's really cool. And I find it to be fun. And as they say, readers are leaders, leaders are readers. So with that being said, that's what I got. I think that's good for tonight in terms of investigate everything. But Drake, you know, that AI, that piano in that, man.
Dude, that's like still in my head.
It's literally stuck in my head. It's a mnemonic.
Dude,
it's crazy.
And The Weeknd, I was like, yo, The Weeknd got bars. It wasn't even him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at Aristotle going ham. Hey, Ben, what's up? We're just talking about investigating all things. He's like, yeah, I do that already. I've been investigating this phone with my mouth. But look at that. When you're a baby, you investigate things like everything. And what do your parents tell you? No, until you stop. Until you put that down. Don't do that. Right? But if your parents are actually around, like, dude, the parents in this community, we're supporting them to be there for their children. Actually be there for their children. So that you're not yelling at your kids to just do this, do that, whatever. You're walking into a room and they're already into some stuff. You're there. You're with them. And so you can support them. So you know, hey, look, they just put a little, I don't know, toy in their mouth. And you're not going freaking out like, oh my gosh. They're like, okay, they're not going to choke on that. Obviously, if it's not something they're going to choke on, you're like, okay, they're just going to spit it out. Hey, you remind them, make sure you spit that out, right? But you give them the opportunity to actually explore, right? This is from infancy, literally infancy. Your exploration starts, your investigation of the world starts. And then what happens? Your parents start drilling it out of you. The schools start drilling it out of you. And up 10 years later, you're an 18-year-old who cares not about actually learning about the world. Now, there are some people who I want to travel the world because I just want to explore. I want to learn things. And that's cool, right? But it's in this very limited sense, actually. It's just a reaction to, I hated school, right? Because if you actually cared to investigate the world, you'd find out, hey, things really need to change. And the only ones who can do it is us, right? That's why we're here. So if you haven't already, you need to start investigating destiny. You need to start investigating all the things that we talk about in this group. Investigate technotutor, investigate destiny. And that doesn't mean, oh, I'm just going to go do a bunch of research on technotutor. No, like talk to somebody in this group who's actually using it and find out, what is it about? Is this something that you need to incorporate in your life? Because can everyone benefit from it? Yeah. Is it for everyone? No. Right?
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
Greg,
No.
may I add a suggestion?
Yeah, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just a suggestion. Use TechnoTutor to investigate destiny.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Right. And literally, you're gonna need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll keep it at that for now. And yeah, this has been great, Mitch. Take us home. Hey, by the way, we have an event coming up. And if you have not gotten your ticket for that event, you need to. Because this is going to be a really great opportunity for you to, like Mitch was talking about earlier, be a part of that liquid network, really understand things more. But also, man, you're going to immerse yourself into this community and really get to download things way faster than just through a screen. That should be obvious. If it's not obvious to you, then you really need to hit us up so that we can make it really obvious for you. If you want to go to that event, but you just don't know how yet, send Mitchell a message.
Yeah, I'm happy to help. If you need help getting good flights or whatever, like I'm good at this stuff. So happy to help you wherever I can. Yeah, think about the adjacent possible. If you miss the event, what's going to be possible for you? First, if you're there playing full out, you will level up in a way that you can't imagine yet. And it's going to be in a way that you don't expect. And that's why I'm so excited for it. All right. So thanks everyone for being on. We'll be back next week with some more training. And Jess, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, bring a friend.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be even better if you bring a friend to the event.
Add some more chaos to it. Let's go. Wes, I would definitely recommend flying. I mean, if you like long road trips, you can, but I would just fly. So let's go. Yeah, John, if you could post those in Self Perfected, I'll just like approve it or whatever. Oh, if it's only one. Yeah. Feel free to post it in the group. All right, y'all. Good to see you. Let's go out there and really, I'm serious, go read some random stuff from a book and see how you can apply it to your life to level up and do what's best for all. All right. Bye, everyone. See you.
Bye.